On what day did God create the heavens and the earth? Do you know the answer offhand? Take a moment to think about it without looking it up. Can you remember? While you think about that, let me tell you a little bit about my journey. It was that question that really knocked my socks off. I remember thinking about that question and opening up Genesis chapter 1 and just being stunned. I was shocked to find out that it says, right, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was void and formless, and the Spirit of God hovered over the waters of the deep. And then verse 3 comes, and then God said, "Let there be light," and he separated the light from the darkness. But wait a minute. So does that mean that God created the heavens and the earth before day one? I was just absolutely stunned that I didn't realize that that was how it was even written. I couldn't believe it because, this had been a subject that I had already been talking about a bunch. And I've been even more stunned and surprised to find out as I've talked to many other people and argued about the subject of Genesis chapter 1 with old earthers and young earthers that they don't actually know the answer to that question, even though it's the very first 2 verses of the Bible. But that's okay. That's okay. But I will say that my journey through Genesis 1 was what I thought was going to be a walk in the park, proved to be a huge lesson in my own ignorance. There were so many things that I didn't recognize, I didn't see in the text itself, I hadn't thought about before, and I was about to be seriously challenged. So I hope that this study will educate you, will challenge you, and will give you a greater passion and desire to study it for yourself. But what should change your mind when it comes to this subject? I think that's a really important question to ask. And I think it's one that you need to look carefully at. And what it should be, obviously, is going to be a good, thorough study of the scriptures and good critical thinking. You want to use your skills in hermeneutics. If you don't know what that is, let's just think about it as critical thinking with the fancy word. But there are ways of studying scripture that are very important, and there are rules to go by. And so you want to use good tools, good thinking, to understand better what it is that God was trying to say to us through the Bible. So even after just the beginning of this, I still had a lot of questions. Questions like, okay, well, if Genesis isn't literal, then how can I trust the rest of Genesis as being real or truthful? Questions like, why is there light before there's the sun, moon, and stars on day 4? How can there be animal death before the fall? What about all of the scientific evidence for young earth creationism, and can evolution go together with the Bible? Is Genesis really history, or are you trying to say that it's completely figurative? Is the only reason people believe anything other than a literal 6-day creation because of evolution and an old earth theory? And so then why are people allowing science to dictate what their theology is? If God wasn't trying to express a literal 6-day view in Genesis chapter 1, how else could he have expressed it in the Bible? Are other interpretations of Genesis 1 legitimate? Is it possible that there are other readings of it? Let's find out.